Hey guys, Tomboy601, and welcome to the Takahashi, the all-new Tier 8 Japanese light cruiser. Now, I didn't make an original video on this line because I kind of wanted to wait till the Tier 8 came out. That way I could kind of feel it out if this line was worth grinding and all that jazz. So let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses of this line. And first, we're going to get into a bit of a macro discussion about game design, right? For each line, it needs to have its give and takes, its positive and negatives, and that expands through so many levels, right? The first level is what kind of ship is it? Battleship, cruiser, destroyer, and cruisers, they're sort of the kings of DPM, right? They are all about being able to do the damage, but their trade-off for that is they take damage really easily, right? They have light armor, and they get a citadel, which is, you know, a step up in ability to be damaged compared to something like the destroyers of the world, right? You can dev strike a cruiser relatively easily, and then we zoom out a little bit more, and then we're talking about light cruisers, and usually light cruisers accomplish this high DPM through rapid fire of small caliber guns that do a good amount of fire damage, which allows them to stack damage over time effects. And that's where this whole line sort of switches off, because instead of the bars being, you know, all in favor of gunfire power doing the damage, the new Japanese cruiser line is more about a 50-50 ratio of both guns and torpedoes. The guns are not rapid firing. They have a relatively long reload, all things considered, especially given their caliber. They also tend to have fairly underwhelming fire chance compared to what you would expect for such guns at, you know, that would be firing quicker. They do sort of let you down in the fire chance as well. So how do they make up for it? Well, they give you access to some incredibly strong and incredibly powerful torpedoes. And because of this, the ability for these cruisers to do damage is about 50-50 split between guns and torpedoes. And well, that means you can build it in some very interesting and distinct ways. For me, I've been kind of sticking to Azur Lane Atago. This is very much building into the guns with a base trait that helps with the torpedoes. She is incredibly powerful, and she boosts the fire chance to one that makes it sort of respectable for the amount of shells that you're flinging downrange. Takahashi, being the tier 8, has 3 5-barreled turrets that will sling HE downrange, which can be incredibly impactful. The other flip side of this is running Matsuji Ijuin. He was the reward on the calendar for the last update. And when you play with him, or when you play this ship based on its torpedo performance, you kind of have to play it completely differently. And let's just go ahead and talk about those torpedoes, because they are incredibly powerful. They outperform Yugamo's torpedoes in range, and I think they match it as far as damage goes, which is incredibly strong. You have more launchers than Yugamo does, and they are just incredibly powerful. Now, it all matters if you can actually hit anything, and because of that, when you play with the torpedoes, you do have to play in this sort of unique play style where you sort of find an island, you run out from behind it, launch torps on one side, flip the ship around, launch torps on another, and then hide behind the island, throw up an airplane, and then try to start badgering ships into the torpedoes that you have now laid. Mind you, hoping that they are actually pushing into you. If they don't push into you, you have some bigger troubles. But with all that said, I'm sure you can kind of guess where these troubles, as far as a playstyle, come in, because, well, I kind of more just described a destroyer's playstyle, right? Like jumping torps, finding cover and then using the guns. That's very much a destroyer's sort of playstyle. And if there's a enemy destroyer on your flank, then things can get rough, because while you are relatively stealthy, you're not very stealthy, but you're on the lower end of cruiser detectability. Destroyers are going to outspot you. And if you are sailing at anything other than perfect hiding angles, when they spot you, you're going to have some fairly large rounds rammed down the side of your ship, and you're going to be exploded. So that's the sort of torpedo play style, which is fun when you can make it work. But I found the more consistent, and I'm gonna, like, knock on wood there, because this whole line's kind of rough to play. Is going to be with the gun. Some other highlights of the line stuff that the full line does really well. Well, it's going to be the AA performance of the ship. Up and down the line, they tend to have incredibly good AA performance, which is nice. And they also have incredibly fast rotating turrets. As you can see right there, you can kind of flip the turrets from one side to another, making all of these ships all about kiting. That is their goal. Now, as far as my build for the vessel goes, it's as follows. I'm using aiming system mod 1, steering gears, concealment, and main battery mod 3. I would not suggest the engine modification, just because throttle juking is a little rough, and with the armor plate on here, you're going to want to be able to angle if you can. Then, as far as its consumables go, we have, of course, the damage control party, the sonar, which is a pretty decent sonar, 4.8 kilometer detectability on both ships and torpedoes, making it, fairly performative for Takahashi. And then you have the catapult fighter, or you can use enhanced AA. I have found myself sticking with the catapult fighter just because of that island playstyle. I have found myself just sending up planes when I'm out behind an island to try to help me with spotting on things, because a lot of the time you'll find yourself in these weird positions where you need to know where enemy ships are, and the best way to do that is going to end up being the fighter plane, weirdly enough, not the spotting plane. Finally, the other really, the final consumable you'll see on there is a heal. It will heal about 6,916 health per proc, and I believe you can get up to 3 of them if you end up running fully packed. Of course, with Zerlane Atago, there is no fully packed, because that would be incredibly powerful. But with all that said, let's go ahead and talk about the game we're in, because we're doing okay, right? We're as far as health goes, we're a bit down. That's one thing. We are very much down. Good news is our team has managed to very much obtain map control, and we've done okay. Ships on our side, not the most healthy, so we're going to have to probably put in some work, but we've done okay so far. The biggest threat probably on the enemy team is going to be that Ochakov. He's just going to be hard to hit, especially with our light guns, and we can see from his flow, we've seen him push in, pull out, push in, pull out. He's competent. He understands you don't, push in 100% of the time. A battle is much more of a flow, and he has gotten that fairly well down. Kansas about to go down. He ends up going down right there, and there's that Ochakov, and we do also have the Vanguard out there, who earlier we were able to hit with, I think, a torpedo or two. I'm not gonna lie, I think I was blind launching them around where I thought the Ochakov would be, and then we hit something that was unspotted, and it's like, oh sweet, we got the Ochakov, and then Vanguard pops up and he's missing a chunk of health. I'm like, darn, I thought we were very skilled. We only picked up the Vanguard, but still, we're gonna go ahead and dump our torpedoes while we're in stealth right here. Vanguard kind of turning in, and we're making that turn and starting to fire our weapons. And this is sort of the flow you get in with Takahashi. It is very much a backline ship. The other thing that was kind of rough when using Ujuin is the fact that he does not have beyond range. The range boost I felt like was very much needed when trying to use the guns, just because you need to be at range or you're going to end up having some you're going to be just that little bit too close to enemy ships, that they are like you're perfectly within citadelable range, if you know what I mean, where they're going to want to fire at you and you're just going to blow up because you just take damage in these ships. So keeping the standoff distance is kind of key. And you can see, like, this scenario right here is what Takahashi and this whole line are about, right? We dump torps. They are slowly meandering towards the Vanguard there. We're trying to stack damage over time effects onto the Vanguard, and we are using the time it takes for those shells to reach out, for those torpedoes to reach out to the Vanguard, to start to pepper him, maybe get him to force cycle the damage control party, and then hopefully hit him with some torpedoes. We can see he is kind of stuck on a perma flood there, and that's going to end up taking him down for us. And then we have turpets here, and we're going to kind of continue the same thing here. Mind you, if you look at the scoreboard now, we're getting close as far as number of ships left, and that means we're going to really need to start working. Turpets is using his heal. He was fairly close to going down, but now it looks like he's going to start making his way towards us. We're going to do a fun little thing right here. We're going to set one set of torpedoes towards him, wait a couple of seconds, and then set another round of torpedoes on the corner right there. And the reason for that is that Turpets knows we're here, right? That Turpets saw the fire. He's seen what we're doing. If he understands what this line does, he knows it has long range torpedoes. So we're going to set one round of torpedoes right on the nose. And our hope is he's probably going to be smart enough to go, pause. I'm not going to charge in on the enemy quite yet. I'll wait for the round of the torpedoes to come by. He's going to see a round of torpedoes, think it's safe, hit full speed ahead, and then hopefully that second spring of torpedoes will head towards him, or at least that's the hope. Also, I don't know if you just noticed, but our Jean Bart just went down. So it is now a tied game, and I'll be honest, I don't think I can take the Ochakov just given its ability to pump out. We're going to go ahead, hit the Turpets with one of those torpedoes, and now we just need to finish off this Turpets because, well, we're just going to need to finish off Turpets here. Just to kind of secure us the win. We take a fairly decent hit here, and it looks like, I don't know what our destroyer is doing, but he is going to go end up being eliminated by the Ochakov, which means it is now all up to us. And for us to win this game, we are going to need to get this Turpets down. We get a permafire right there, and now I'm like, okay, we can't go down. We have very little health, but we do need to finish off this Turpets so that we can drop spot and then avoid Ochakov for the rest of the round. If we don't survive, we will have thrown the game completely here. But we need to get this Turpets down so that we can easily, like, kind of skirt the map border in order to avoid Ochakov for the rest of the round. So let's see how this goes. He is slowly ticking down there. He goes down. We drop spot. We're going to dump torpedoes on either side of the island for the Ochakov, and then we are going to try, with our best ability, to get around without being spotted by the Ochakov. We know he's within the cap circle, but we're going to kind of make our way at a diagonal angle so that if we are about to be spotted, we have enough time to maneuver to kind of turn us into the map border so we're not taken up. But thankfully, our map control will have won us the day here as we pick up Dreadnought and with the win. But guys, that is the Takahashi. That is the Japanese light cruisers. What do y'all think? Like I said, I think they're a bit mid as far as how they go, but they're at least a little fun to play. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.